Will begin. His name is Ricky White. He's CEO of First Nations Consultants. He is Anishnaabe from Whitefish Bay First Nations in Ontario, Canada, a member of the Lynx Clan and a fluent Ojibwe speaker with deep roots and connections to his native culture and ways of life. As a result of growing up on an isolated reservation, Ricky retained deep knowledge of the Anishinaabe language and culture, and those teachings continue to guide his spirit and work today. He has over 25 years of experience in education as a teacher and administrator. He has served as an Ojibwe language and culture teacher, assistant principal, executive director of education, and superintendent of schools. He was recognized as Minnesota Indian Education Teacher of the Year in 2001 and Minnesota Indian Education Administrator of the Year in 2013. As the CEO of First Nations Consultants, his work centers on sharing, training, and inspiring schools, universities, tribal nations, and organizations to deepen and enhance their understanding of Native Americans and to strengthen their services, systems, and support for Native people using his Native American Best Practices framework to achieve student success and working to help turn around schools, programs, and communities. So if you read in the digest, you will know that he has been working with Watersmeet School, which is about 75 miles south of us, and has had extraordinary success, and he's going to share that with us today. So, Ricky, great. I'm happy to meet you online.
Can you hear me okay, everybody?
Great.
Yeah, I often say, let's have a choral response. So all of you in the audience, everywhere, online, just give me a thumbs up if I'm loud and clear, and hopefully not ringing the walls with my voice. I've been blessed and gifted a voice, which comes great responsibility when I think about how we share our ways of life, and when I think about how I want to send some messaging your way on this Sunday as we enter in this new month of March. I want to start by just saying how grateful I am. Gimami gotchtagos miwa nogam gagi piwi shamegoan chugagi gittoan pangige ni noa gagi jikwe kendeman noa gaja Anishinaabe. Just to share, I know, right? A language that is kind of foreign. Oh, what a word, huh? Foreign. Maybe just let's shift that a little bit. Maybe a little unknown by many of you as you just heard those words, because I'm actually speaking a foreign language right now in that area where you're all sitting right now, right? You know, this is not the original language of where you're all sitting. The language that I spoke is the Ojibwe or Anishinaabe language. And basically what I said is just I'm so deeply honored to be able to share. And I'm going to go through what we would call a personal introduction, a traditional protocol introduction. And had you all sitting in those chairs and on the beautiful connectivity of Zoom understand the language just in pure introduction, man, you would know an awful lot about me. So here it is for you. Bonjour. Nigana Kutendigo. Ricky White. Disha Shagana Shijinikas. Note Komigwaning. Anishinaabe. Ninda. Whitefish Bay. First Nations. Nindunchiba. Gigoabmin. Miigwach. Kind of wondering as I'm looking at all those amazing people sitting in chairs, how many of you understood what I said, right? You know, and that's part of the reality, folks. When I talk about Native American best practices, and which is the framework that I've gone on this journey as I haven't quite retired. You know, I don't think retiring is quite the word. We're constantly educating. Right? You know, I do call them teachers, principals, and whatnot, but we're all educators. The social workers, the counselors, the school psych, like everyone that educates our young people, right? we're all educators. We all want to share good things. And so I'm, again, just deeply honored to be asked to share just a little bit about some of the things that we've done at Watersmeet. And of course, it really just unpacks the Native American best practices frameworks that I share. And in that personal introduction, I greeted you with a hello, a greetings to all of my relatives. That's all of you. And in Ojibwe, we just simply say, bonjour, bonjour. That's hello. Got a lot of French friends. Oh, good people. Oh, I love the French. You know, very spirited folks, a great language. And oftentimes they say to me, oh, you guys borrowed our word for hello, bonjour, right? You know, and I remind them that as you came here a few hundred years ago and you greeted us in your language, I got to remind you all, I know French is about 1,000 years old. Anishinaabe, Ojibwe, thousands, many thousands years older than that French language. So I just gently nudge them and say, I think maybe you guys borrowed our word for hello and just enunciate it perhaps in your language, right? You know, it's all good banter. Because you know what, folks, humor is another synergizing thing. Humor in a good way. The manner in which I'm speaking to you all today is I come with also a good heart. In greeting you all, it really is a way of awakening a relation, of letting you all know that I deeply value your time, and of course really honored to be here with you all. So when we do a greeting, it's more of that initiation of relationships, of telling you all that I'm a good person, that I want to teach the good for all of you. And I also want to earn your respect, right? And for educators, that's oftentimes kind of a little scary place in this narrative of education that we have today in our schools and in our school systems. You see many schools struggling with attendance issues, behavioral issues, and we're all saying, what is wrong with these kids today? What is going on with these kids, right? You know, and how, of course, influenced they are in the learning that they're getting. Their primary educator could be, you know, one of these, right? You know, and so how do we match that in schools? And a lot of it is, as I say to educators, why not we start by saying to our students from day one that my number one job is I want to earn your respect. It's kind of a different mindset. And I think it's one that's needed today, folks. I want to earn your respect. Yes, I'm going to greet you in a good way. I'm going to be nice. I'm going to be kind to you. I'm going to model that behavior. Because when you are treated in such a way, you notice my voice, right? I'm not saying to you all, hey, sit up in your chairs there, right? And make sure you're looking at me right now, okay? And I'm the teacher. I'm the adult in the room, so you're going to listen to me because I've got great things to... Oh, my gosh, folks, I'm losing my breath. And I'm losing my breath just saying that to you. And we see our teachers, right? You know, we call it, yeah, you hear about teacher burnout. I call it compassion fatigue. You know, the things that we're trying to do and the things that educators are shouldered with, I tell them, bring it down a notch, you know? And so when we talk to you in a good way, you're more apt to likely listen to me. I've barely introduced you who I am. I'm actually quite flattered and maybe a little humbled and maybe some embarrassment as well as I receive that lengthy introduction. I'm proud and I'm honored of the work that's happened. But I also share it this way. It really does also honor my mentors and relatives and those good people that have planted some things in my brain, my worldview, and just the way that I carry myself. Not one of ego to tell you, hey, you know, I've got a nice suit on, right? You know, that look at me, I've, earned all of these accolades and letters at the end of my name, whatever have you. None of that is shining through right now. I want to be a good person to you. So when I greet you with bonjour, I'm really just telling you all, I'm very deeply happy to be here with you all. And I do have some things that I want to share with you. And as we go through our introduction, folks, we then introduce to you the name that we were given through ceremony. You see, Native Americans, and this is all of our peoples, I tend to, in training teachers and staff about our people and folks about our people, I try to make sure I balance some of the pan-Indianism, facts that we all know. Pan-Indianism is we bundle all Native people into one. We're all one language, one culture, we all do things the same way, wear the big headdresses. Too much of what we don't know that we don't know, unfortunately, has been planted by Hollywood, and the very little that we all learned in our K-12, and even less that we learn in our life moving forth about our people. Too many misconceptions and leads to misunderstandings and stereotypes that just kind of lead to an unfortunate view, perception, and knowing of Native people, where in fact there's over 500 different tribal nations in the United States alone. Many right there in the UP, right? Primarily Anishinaabe, but there are others, Oneida, Ho-Chunk, right? Putawemini, right? I know people call them Potawatomi, Putawemini, right? The people, the keepers of the fire. Putawe, the fire. Mini, the people of the fire. Manumini, right? You heard of Menominee, as they might pronounce it. Manumini, people of the wild rice. So all of these folks that live and have lived in that region have their own languages. And I can't speak to a Ho-Chunk. I don't understand. It's like Japanese to me. I have no idea what they're saying. But in our introductions, that hello, that greeting, our spirit name, another maybe misconception and understanding of our people. My name is Ricky White, and I shared that in my introduction. My English name is Ricky White. We never had surnames, folks. Those only came when the Indian agents lined up our people and wanted to get a census and how many of you are there. And as they lined up our families literally in like cattle, let's just say right there, all of you seated in that room, you would be like our peoples a few hundred years ago, lined up and said, okay, what's your name? And of course we would share our name that we got through ceremony, our functional namesake of who we are. Niga nanakutndego. I am known by everything as in front of the cloud. It's a leadership name, folks, but at the same time, the cloud of the people or the thing needs good guidance, needs consensus guidance, so it actually puts into play our form of government, just knowing what my name is and my responsibilities would be. Niga nanakutndego. That's what I'm known as. But you know how I was taught about our leadership, folks? My grandmother, whispering in my ear. You know what she would say to me? And this is how, again, I was brought up with that responsibility. Some might call it a burden. I call it a responsibility. She would say, true leadership for you is going to be that people are going to feel good about themselves just having met you. Try that on for leadership. And that doesn't mean, again, this ego kind of look at me, I'm the boss, top down. There has been that too in my wake, right? As far as superintendency, principalships, and all of those leadership roles. And I will tell you all this, that framework of hearing that and how I was nurtured through my young life as a way of how I'm going to treat others, how I'm going to synergize folks to understand what we're up to and where we're going. And oftentimes we see that cloud, it's really sometimes unknown, it's smaller, it's bigger, like there's things that are happening there. And when we all come together with good information and a good mind and a good solid way, we can live with those decisions that come forth. And so that responsibility has been placed on me just in my name. So think about that, folks. Here I am almost 10 minutes into this, and I've shared hello, bonjour. And then I just shared my spirit name. Had you understood that, you would get that full picture of who I am just in those two phrases. And the other thing that we do, folks, in our introduction is we always acknowledge the land that gives us everything, the land that, provides nourishment, every single piece that who we are. has been gifted by the land. So indeed, we have a land acknowledgement statement, and we are known that way. So when we introduce ourselves to each other and we acknowledge that land, it automatically gives you a sense of, oh, you're from that area. Man, it's a very interesting area that you come from. So for me, it's Not Kamigwaning, right? Not Kamigwaning Nindunjaba. I'm from that place where the Whitefish dwell. It's Whitefish Bay First Nation, and sometimes we get that confused with Sault Ste. Marie based on where you're located. I'm actually from northwestern Ontario. I'm a Canadian, apparently, right? These borders are amazing. I love them, but they are very new, right? You know, they weren't there thousands, let's just say, years ago as we lived. But I come from this place in the middle of Lake of the Woods, on the Canadian side. Lake of the Woods also is in, northern Minnesota as well. But I come from a little island there, and that's where the Whitefish, there's a dwelling, a bay, and an area known as the Whitefish, not just clan, but the land base. So think of those things. A beautiful greeting, synergizing, making these connections, honored to be with you all. The spirit name, the good spirit that I come from, to want to bring us all together and speak about some things with you. And then that land acknowledgement. And then typically the third and fourth phrase is, I'm looking forward to seeing you again. In all of our native languages, here's a pan-Indianism thing for you. None of our languages has a word for goodbye. It's the result of our intent is we want to build relations. That's part of our cultural way. We want to build a relationship with you, a lasting one, so that when we see each other again, we'll be able to pick up right where we left off. Aren't those the greatest relations? Yeah, we may look at each other and say, man, I wish I could see you more. I miss you, all of those, and we have regrets on time gone by. But we also recognize that when we build those good relational ways, that we literally just pick up right where we left off. And that's part of our intent when we meet each other. We want to treat each other so well that this is where we'll be. And then, of course, we finish with a very blessed miigwech. Thank you. So, folks, what you have just been exposed to, I can replace you as an audience with the vast number of school districts, including that beautiful school known as Watersmeet Township School when I first landed there just a little over 3 years ago, with a staff that is representative. When I say a staff, a group of educators that is representative really of the folks that I've worked with closer to the border from Montana all the way through Michigan. The reality is 98% of our workforce, our educator workforce, are non-native and white. Nothing absolutely wrong with that. And there's a lot of things that they don't know. So part of the Native American Best Framework, the Native American Best Practices Framework that I share, is through this type of thing, storytelling, so that folks are able to bring some kind of connection in their good lifespan. And then they're able to relate a little more. Because as we relate a little more, it's, yes, getting to know who you're educating, who you're bringing on this journey with you. And we need to build that good relation of trust. Because when we have that, folks, respectful mutuality, because when we earn it with each other, we really bring in place an arena and an aura of, we're going to be able to learn from each other now. I often say to teachers, when's the last time you learned from somebody that you didn't like? When's the last time that you learned from somebody that just, didn't really treat you well? And so, yes, there is an onus on that here today in this landscape of so much division, right? So much division, and of course, we just need to turn on the TV, right? And see the division and see what our students are so highly impacted with. And we need to replace that with what we would call just good relational things, good ways of how we're going to treat each other. That is let's just say, the fabric of creating belonging. And so I wanted to just share a couple of things with you before, and you can just imagine where these go. But this here is the essence of when I say teachings with Ricky. I call it sharing good medicine. when things lift our spirit, folks, it's not a pill, it's not an injection or any of those things in modern medicine. But I also really believe in the spirit of a person. I believe deeply in the spirit of all of our people. And that includes, everyone that are two-legged and walks this earth. And so the framework of what I plant on schools, especially schools that have a Native American population to it. So think of Watersmeet Township School, 75% Native American students there. For years and years and years, Watersmeet Township School, great legacy. And I will say this, barely 50% of our students graduate from high school. Attendance rates, the worst in the area. Behavioral referrals. I'm not saying the place was just, a madhouse. No. But our overall outputs of what school performance looks at, are those indicators, reading scores by third grade, fifth grade, eighth grade, all of those, metrics, including, science and social studies and those things that the state looks at. Well, 4 years ago, Watersmeet Township School was identified as a school that needed targeted assisted support, meaning we need to see what you're going to do about it, is basically what they were put on notice for. And so 4 years ago, they said, well, we could pour on more math. We could pour on more reading. But is that really going to lift the spirit and the soul of this place? And so what they heard is, I have a reputation. I don't do a lot of social media. I really don't have any. And when I say any, I have no Facebook, no Instagram, no Snapchat. I don't do any of that for my business. It's all through referral. I think the greatest thing you can do is to be referred to somebody. That probably means you did something okay. And so they heard, and I came aboard, and what I planted with them was certainly, the First Nations consultants, but I have this philosophy of what is good for Native American children is good for all children. You don't need to be Native to understand the consistent and overall teachings of what we're intending to share with folks. And so I take folks on this journey, and this is it right here. I call it the cultural IQ, or the cultural intelligence pathway. And we do it kindly. We do it gently. I'm not telling teachers, hey, our students are suffering here and you got mostly Native kids. You better start infusing Native content now, or you're not gonna do any good. That's not what I say. They certainly, if you ask any staff member at Watersmeet Township School, they will tell you that they have had a backing over these 3-4 years where their cultural IQ on Ojibwe and Anishinaabe people is mountains from where they were when they first landed there. And I'm talking even 30, 40-year experienced teachers. And they're like, gosh, where have I been? Because it really has awakened their sense of scope of where and how they can, build these places where people and students want to go to school, where they want to belong. And so really all I've done is shared these teachings, share these backgrounds, these cultural teachings about our people, and have encouraged them to bring things into what they're already doing. So you can see the staff connecting with the teachings and philosophy. Once they do that, and once we do those things, just like me sharing that little introduction with you, as good people, it makes sense to us, no matter our background, no matter where, what faith we even hold for each other. The good is always going to surface. And this is where they get naturally confident, and then they're ready to use it. And what I say to folks is I want to impact your behavior in a good way. So the next time you do have a Native student, or any student, that you're going to be able to apply these things right to them. And this is really the reality here, folks. This is always really hard for me to share. But this is the reality of Native people today. I'm sharing a beautiful culture with you, a beautiful language. Like, it is still here. We are still here. We are definitely still, we haven't gone anywhere. And that's one of the misconceptions about us, is we're constantly talked about in the past. The things that I've shared with you so far are not in the past. They've just had a massive interruption and a massive disruption to make this part of our reality. And it's an honor to share with you that at Watersmeet in 4 years, 100% graduation rate. George Peterson, it cannot happen without leadership and the superintendent. And what's crazy about Watersmeet is they share a parking lot. And George and Jim are, right, Jim Williams there, right, those guys, they didn't graduate high school together at Watersmeet, but they've known each other since they were in diapers pretty much. And the two organizations didn't really talk to each other. Now there is green lines within the entire community. We have folks coming in because we've created an invitational spirit about the place. And as I think about this, folks, what it's really done is it's created this mindset that it does take a village to raise a child. It does take a community to raise a child. But we've got to do it with a mindset of very consistent and good ways, with the highest of expectations, right? The highest of expectations. So even though we know the vast majority of students that are coming to us have this slide as their reality, we're telling them this is a good, safe place for you here. That we're going to nurture you here. We're not going to say this, hey, we know that you had some problems at home last night, so don't worry about school right now. I actually tell teachers that's the last thing we should say to them, or don't say that at all, because we're actually unintentionally furthering the gap. We got to say, hey, we understand, and this is part of that relationship building, getting to know everything what's going on with these kids. Black, white, native, no matter what color their skin, using relational connectivity to make a difference with them so that we know this stuff. And then we're able to say, I know, situation at home is this or that, and we need you to be in class. That's where you're going to get, you're going to get all kinds of good things there and support. We'll work with you on all of these things. And so their attendance rates have been off the charts, right? I'm talking average over 90% attendance rate. So as the state flagged them for all of these matrices that are not good, right? The graduation rate, the behavior referrals, literally down 90%. I think some of the statistics now, there were like well over 600, in years past, down to like 66, right? So does that mean everything's hunky-dunky rosy? No, these are still kids. We're all going to make mistakes. How do we restore them? And so what we've really done, folks, is we've done some things where we've infused culture as part of our leading way of voicing it. This is not religion, folks. So, I know a lot of times I get wonderings. Aren't you teaching religion? No. We are teaching the cultural ways of life, and these are a good guide for all of us. So when you go into Watersmeet, you're going to see a lot of this imagery, these symbols that allow us to have these conversations. What is good for Native people is good for everybody. When our students feel respected, when they feel supported, when they feel accepted, and then when they feel included, that's just good, healthy belonging. And then, of course, and by the way, these are all thousands of year old way of how we teach. We use this thing called the medicine wheel, 4 quadrants. And we talk about this there a lot, right? That we need to also have this balance in our way of life. But folks, as we go through, this is also, and I know I'm going a little over here. When we talk about teaching good behavior, folks, it's these guys. So this is, I wouldn't say this would be like the 10 Commandments, but this would be us, because those are, you think about those 10, and I don't know them all, folks. I've only gone to church 3 times in my life, 2 for a funeral and 1 for a wedding. And I remember when I went to the wedding, it was a Catholic church, and I've never knelt and stood so many times in my life. I had no clue what I was doing, but I just followed along. But then once I heard that priest start talking about marriage, man, did it make sense to me. So again, what is good for how they're speaking about, treating each other well, love each other, take care of each other, build a good, like family relations, treat others well, like all of those things. It doesn't matter what color of your skin, they're all good. So these guys are the essence of what we've launched in teaching good behavior, in teaching expectations. So when a student ever has, the luxury and opportunity to need a redirection from their superintendent, George Peterson, they'll go into his conference room, and behind George Peterson is a massive poster of these grandfather teachings, just like they're in every single classroom, in the hallway, everywhere. It's saturated and it is alive. They're not just on the wall as pictures and reference points and collecting dust. The students actually know them. They talk about them. And so what we've done is we've used the Ojibwe language and culture, that representation of, yes, it's 75% of the students there. Well, what about the other 25? They're getting the luxury as well of learning the history, of learning the culture of these students that they've shared with since they were in diapers. Because here's the reality, folks. As a result of this, do not ever expect any one of our native people that are alive in the United States, let's just say some 10 million of us, to know our language, to know our culture, because there was a massive disruption to that as well. The reality is maybe 1 in 10 of us actually speaks a little bit. And in that school, we're getting there, right? It's just another good world language. I love languages. They teach us a lot about cultures. But at the same time, we are definitely addressing, through consistent work, the things that we know are making a difference with these kids. And when you talk about, our students at Watersmeet, what you're going to find is that they have a sense of being able to relate with each other as a result of this guide. And so, folks, 25, 30 minutes, you can get the sense of where I'm coming from here. Every Friday, the students at Watersmeet get this. Every student, we have them in teams, groupings by age. So K1, they get teachings with Ricky every Friday at 10 o'clock. All the teachers do is they do exactly what you're doing. And I share teachings. I reinforce, again, just that positive behavior. Work hard, right? Seasonal change. And of course, I blend in some good Anishinaabe teachings that are, again, good for everybody. It doesn't matter what your comprehension or your background is. And then, of course, I go through every other, division of students, 4 through 6, 7 through 12, and then grades 2 and 3. So this is really one of those pieces, folks, where we've made it, again, they needed something. And more math and more reading wasn't working. They had already been doing that. They needed to, let's say, put the spirit of relational education back into the classrooms, back into the entirety of the school. And so it would be, I think, George's honor to host any of you. You ever want to go for a walk and see what's going on and see what's happening in this school? Again, I don't say to anybody that we're going to be born again Indians doing this. That's not what we're going to apply the good teachings of our culture, to good people. And the hope with that is that we're going to also build good humans, as a result. And we're seeing that, how students are treating each other. Again, it's not perfect. This is never a perfect thing. It's not a light switch. It's time in, not time out. And I say to the educators, it's going to be, it's a marathon, not a sprint. It's a journey. It's every day, right? And so, I just wanted to maybe end with that here today with all of you. But this would be your typical, Ricky White, Native American Best Practices 101 introduction. I'm actually going to get in my car here today, and I'll be in front of 1,000 educators in Duluth Public Schools tomorrow morning. The entire elementary staff. I'll have them in an auditorium, and they're going to have a full day, 8 hours of this. Because as my grandmother said, what's going to happen when you speak this way, Ricky, is people are going to say, man, I could listen to this guy all day. And folks, I take that responsibility, deeply. I understand that responsibility, and I'm honored to do that. And so I want to say miigwech to you all. Thank you for just hearing me out a little bit, and I guess I'll open it up. I don't know if folks say that I'm kind of a hypnotist with my voice. I'm looking at the audience, and I just want to welcome any thoughts. I'm not sure how long we have, Joan, or where we're going to go from here. I'm looking at the
Let's go.
time
It's
here.
about 10 minutes. We'll see
Okay.
how it goes and how many questions, how many people have
Sure.
questions.
Sure.
So right
Yeah.
here, I have a microphone, and if you have a question here in the room, if you raise your hand, I'll bring the microphone to you just to save time.
Yeah.
And if you're online, if you could physically raise your hand, then we'll Juxta will switch to you.
Yeah. Or throw it in the chat. Yeah.
Ricky, can you
Hey,
hear me?
yes, 100%.
Oh, okay. One of the things that I'm full Finnish background,
Oh.
and there's a lot of Finns up here. Okay,
Love it.
we're the former home of Finlandia University and everything.
Yeah.
And the Finns and the Indians have shared a lot in common
Yeah.
since the Finns came here.
Oh, yeah.
One of the
Yeah.
struggles, though, currently is the Finns have their own indigenous group, the Sami in the north.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering, has anyone contacted you to talk about your general approach and helping with some of the difficulties and some of the, frankly, the same kind of oppression? They were sent to boarding schools and that sort of thing. I'm wondering, has there been any outreach or any connection to you in your education role and maybe working with some of the people in Finland and helping with some of that situation?
I haven't been contacted specifically, okay, by that population there, and I'll just say this has been a rising connection with many school districts that are looking to do the same thing as far as being culturally connected. And I'm glad you bring up the Finnish. You know, I love your hot saunas. I think we have a connection there. Of course, you ever want to go to something a little deeper, try one of our sweat lodges out. Holy man, you'll really get an awakening. I've got a lot of good Finnish friends, and you know, I'll kind of end it with this, and I say this frequently. As far as cultures go, you know, because a lot of folks ask me, why Native American, Ricky? Come on now, this is America, you know, like, what about our Finnish people? What about our Scandinavian people, right? You know, why don't we teach more of that? And I say, that's fantastic too. And let's do that on this journey. But here's a reality for us, my friend. You know, I have a lot of good Finnish people. You know, I tell you what, Tamara Uselman, you know, Dr. Uselman, amazing woman. Superintendent of Bismarck, right? You know, Bismarck School has been in this area, just absolute. Her and I, we've shared so much, and she's retired now. And she asked me that same question. And I said, here's the reality, okay? As Finnish people, there is an opportunity and a tremendous, I wouldn't say advantage, but opportunity for you. Right? You know, lots of resources to help you relearn your language, your culture, your ways of life. So much there. And there's so many communities that are just fluently just living that way as well, right? Igniting it, talking about it every day. And you also have this. You have that opportunity to go and visit Finland. Because I asked her, how many people speak Finnish in Finland? Right? Well, everybody. How many people speak Swedish in Sweden? Well, everybody. German in Germany, Asia, Russia, like everywhere, right? Advantage. Mexico, mano habla español, mucho habla español in Mexico, right? You know, there are lots of Spanish speakers there. It's not going anywhere is what I'm saying. For our native people, we have nowhere to go. This is where we're from, you know? So I share that sense of urgency for our people as we go on this journey that we really don't have anywhere to go. And I get it. Why can't you guys just go and get a job? You know, McDonald's is paying $17 an hour. There is a journey with that too, and your ears will be ringing because the folks in Duluth Public Schools are going to have a little learned journey on things of what happened. Because that's another thing I share with educators. You know, don't ask what's wrong with you. Like, student, what's wrong with you? We just did this 10 times. I say tone it down and teach it 11th time. Because for so many of our kids, you know, it does take about 100 times before they actually internalize it. And the reality is this. Let's not say what's wrong with you. What happened? What's going on? What happened? You know, that's a safe place, and students will connect with that by and large. So, yeah. Any other wonderings?
And then we'll just do a quick check, and then we'll have to wrap it up. Thank you
Okay.
so much.
Yeah.
Well, I'm down here from Canada to visit a wonderful group of people at a very difficult time in your country. And just about everything Ricky was saying today hits home with me. I'm a teacher,
Yeah.
and he's so right about what's wrong with our school systems. We're not learning to be people together. We're not learning to be citizens together. We're not learning to enjoy each other. We're divisive and competitive and all that stuff. So everything he's talking about is just wonderful. But I just wanted to say, the land here speaks. And coming down here, I hope you people appreciate how absolutely strong the message is from the land here, which of course Ricky would be able to, tell us much more about. But look around you. I come down here and I'm blown away how strong the message of this world right here is, and how it's reflected in this UU community.
Thank you so much. Any other questions here in the room? Raise your hand. Anyone online want to ask a question?
We're still
Well,
mourning
thank
our
you
hockey
so
loss.
much, Ricky.
Yeah.
That was awesome. It's a
Okay.
great starting point.
Yes. Yeah. Miigwech, everybody. Have a good day. Thank you all.
Miigwech.
Yeah. Thank you all.